Hey, folks, welcome back to the Mañana No Mas podcast. Today, I'm thrilled. I have spoken to this friend of mine multiple times on different shows, different podcasts, different things. Lifter LMS is a big part of my life. And, I've had him on with Lifter LMS before. But, folks, today I'm super thrilled to bring Alex Standiford to the Mañana No Mas podcast so we can have kind of a one-on-one deeper conversation. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kurt. I'm really excited to be here.
Cool. Um, One of the things I like to do with folks is I try to let people know, like, this isn't the Kurt show. I mean, it's obviously the Mañana Tomas show, but it's not about me, right? It's about you. So tell us a little bit about this latest project of yours called Siren. There'll be links in the notes, but tell me about the project and then kind of the what it is.
Sure. So Siren is an incentive program builder. So basically what that means is it allows businesses to create entire new business models and different approaches to actually growing their business. So things like through incentive programs. So it could be something as simple or relatively straightforward like an affiliate program, for example. So you could use Siren to create as many affiliate programs as you want, as many different sales programs as you want, all kinds of things like that. But you can also use it to create all kinds of different incentive programs, such as the lifter example is maybe you are running a course site and you want to expand your offering so that other course creators can create courses on your site as well. And you want to be able to pay them based on how many sales they generate. Or every time their course is sold, they get a royalty or something like that. So like the number of different types of programs that you can create are kind of limitless, and it's really kind of changing how I personally am looking at my own business and my own growth, because there's so many things that I look at where I'm like, maybe this would be better solved with an incentive program instead of just hiring somebody outsource. Maybe this is something that could be complemented with an incentive program. So maybe, for example, I have a support team and they're all working full time, and I want to gamify um, an opportunity for them to like get more five-star reviews or good feedback from customers. So maybe I create an incentive program that automatically gives them store credit for something like that, or points or something that they can use to redeem to like receive a Starbucks gift card or some kind of special gift or something like that, for their efforts on making those things happen. So it kind of runs the gamut in terms of what kind of incentive program you can build. Everything from affiliate programs that are much more common, all the way through into just about anything you can imagine.
I have a disease, Alex. It's a marketing brain. And as you're talking, all these things are firing off, right? And I
Yep.
just started thinking, like, you think I'm big into bicycling. I love mountain biking, road biking. And so here you think about the bicycling industry, and then they have what they call ambassadors, right? So and so is an ambassador for this brand or an ambassador for that brand, or KTM with motorcycles. The former CEO of KTM here in America became a brand ambassador for something, as he exited.
Hmm.
And all of those roles, those ambassadors, or people may have heard the term influencers, right?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
I became an influencer for FX supplements back in the day when I
Mm-hmm.
was doing Spartan races and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a smoking hot discount. And then besides the discount, I also got incentives. If I
Yep.
referred somebody to the program through my magic link, I got, whatever.
Yep.
Um, but it was always termed differently, right? As either an ambassador or a influencer or whatever. And I think the other thing that you mentioned in your answer or your introduction was you mentioned the word automate or automatically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. I think to our viewers and listeners here at Mañana No Mas, some folks, even though I work in the WordPress space and everyone assumes this is a techie podcast, there's a lot of folks that listen to this that maybe aren't building websites.
Right.
So they go, well, that sounds great. If I could track all that, but then I got to write those checks. And it's
Yep.
like, no, that's not what this is different.
Mm-hmm.
In a
Totally.
nutshell, kind of like what does your product do? Because I want to make sure we clip on the automatically and the ad infinitum. Like it works forever, right? Like it's
Sure.
set it up, it's automatic, and it executes, and people don't run out of money. Like I think people are afraid that the thing's just going to keep taking money out of their till, and then one
Yep.
day they're going to look and they don't have any money left.
Nope. That's
So
not. at
So if we
all.
could handle the fears of like a newbie coming to the space,
Sure.
what's it look like?
So it'll basically what you do is you create programs, right? So you build your programs using the incentive program builder that comes with Siren. It allows you to specify those terms. So what does your collaborators, your people who are working with you, what do they need to do to succeed? So how are you tracking that? How are you tracking success? How are you measuring success? And how are you paying based on that success? So it allows you to define those things, right? And then once, and of course, it also defines like what currency you're paying in, right? So maybe you're paying US dollars, maybe you're paying in your local currency, maybe you're paying in high fives or points or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So it allows you to set. So first off, you set up your program or as many programs as you need, right? Sometimes in your head you're thinking of one program, but really it's actually two, three or four smaller programs that are kind of combined together to create that holistic thing that you have in your head. But once you build your programs, you then set out to go find those collaborators, those people who are going to work with you. You add them to those different programs. And then they go out and they start doing the thing, right? Whatever that thing is, whether it's generating sales, getting 5-star reviews, getting gym existing members for your gym into uh, different exercise routines and things like that. Whatever it is, it depends on your model.
Yeah,
Um,
smoothie of the
to
week club.
Yeah, exactly. So you get them to do the thing, whatever that is. Um, and Siren will automatically keep track of the things that they're doing, their performance, and how much money you owe them as a result. And it creates obligations in the system that are then tracked. So you're able to see them, your collaborators are able to see them, everybody, it's transparent. So everybody's able to see all the information that they need to understand how well they're performing, how much money they can accept, or how big of a reward they should expect to get come the payout time and all of that stuff. Fast forward to the day where you do an actual payout. You would then that could be once a month, whatever works for you. It's up. That's one of those things you kind of have to figure out and decide for yourself.
Yeah.
But once you do that and you figure that out, you go into Siren and you can click a button that just creates a payout from all of those pending obligations. Um, and it'll just generate a thing, and it'll tell you you owe this person this much money, you owe this person this much money, and it just creates a single file for that. So then you can take that file and either one, if you're doing it manually, you're going to your bank or you're setting it up inside of a payroll system or something like that. You could do it manually. You could use that exported file to import into a PayPal Mass Pay if you're doing like a bigger PayPal payout with like hundreds or thousands of affiliates or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, or in the future, I'm working on creating deeper integrations with payout processors so that you can do those things a little bit quicker. But right now, it's you get the CSV file and then you have to basically go and pay for it in whatever way. So its primary goal is to keep track of everything, measure everything, give you an opportunity to make sure that those things are legitimate, right? Because you can see those things and you can actually say, I'm rejecting this because it's illegitimate for some reason or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it allows you to do those kinds of things as well. So what Siren does is effectively that. It keeps track of people's performance and it tells you how much you have to pay them based on the rules that you set up in your own programs.
So I know this works in the WordPress space. Is it solely in WordPress, or have you made other versions for other platforms?
It is currently built as a WordPress plugin. However, it will not be a WordPress plugin forever. It is intended to be something that is going to be agnostic. It's going to work on other platforms like Shopify and other things like that in the future. I also plan on making it as I find more customers and I get more customers coming in and I'm understanding like the different ways that they're using these things. I'm still adapting kind of how it solves those different problems, but it definitely doesn't have to be a WordPress specific. Like it doesn't have to specifically work inside of WordPress.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to change channels completely. Do you
Sure.
do all this so you have more time to play music?
No, I play music because I needed something creative to do that does not require that I get paid. So I guess the answer to that question is yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, because it's kind of an interesting sidebar, and and that sidebar now in my mind is amplified over how I spent last night. But I started a project. Um, I say that I don't suffer from anxiety. Like I go, I don't know how all these people say they're anxious all the time. I don't suffer from anxiety.
Right. I'm
Um,
fine.
but I do get the shingles. So
Right.
so
Oh,
so
jeez.
appa- so apparently I don't express it well,
Right.
and it comes out another way.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel that.
and then I was thinking about, and I don't think we need to talk about details on the Manana Namas show. That's for sure. I'm not looking to get blocked or anything. But WordPress has been a little stressful lately.
Yes.
And so I came out with a product, called Anxiety WP, not a product, a site, a free site, Anxiety
Uh-huh.
WP, right? I'm like, people can go in there and hopefully over time people use it or collaborate. I'm really looking for people to collaborate in there and like share jobs or whatever, right? Because as an agency owner, you can't be everything to everybody. And so I see that you're into the music thing.
Hmm.
Let's just be honest, right? How much anxiety and stress is there in saying, I'm going to build a product and launch a product in the space, especially now?
Yeah, in the word in WordPress specifically, you mean? Or just in general?
We could start general, and if you want to say
Yeah.
something specific, you can. But because here's the deal, I mean, I'm on the hamster wheel of the agency. I got to find new clients every month. Not
Sure.
every month, because some of the projects are big, but
Yeah. But you're
I
always
got
thinking about it.
you got to keep the pipeline going, right? You got to
Yeah.
keep things moving. Now,
Yeah.
you got to keep the pipeline going too in the product space, but it's a different pipeline.
Yep.
It's from a totally different perspective.
Yep.
So what's that look like to put all that time and energy and forethought into something, release it into the ether and try to get that feedback and go, well, honey, we're gonna be okay, or well, honey, we got to sell my guitars and move into the van.
Yeah. Again, move back into the camper.
Yeah. When
Um,
I first met you, were you still on the road or had we talked after you had gotten off the road?
I think I was still on the road at that point. I stopped in December, like November of last year. We're coming up on our
Oh
one
yeah.
year
So
in
yeah,
this house.
we started talking way before then.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a little bit because I have a camper van now. I built the whole thing out of a black ambulance.
Ah, that's right. You told me that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I forgot about that. That's how is that coming along? Is that built?
Oh, we use it all the time. I love
Do
it.
you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
my
that's
my
awesome. I
my
think you were
son
building it
joined
last time we
my
talked.
son joined the mountain bike team, and so we throw the gear in that thing. We take off for a weekend at the lake. Um, I wish I could do more and more of it. It
Yeah.
ended up being one of the moving trucks to bring us from California to Kansas because we moved to Kansas, and just using it as a moving truck, it earned its keep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, because a moving truck out of California was like $9,000.
Yep.
So it earned its keep already. Like we used it. Um, but yeah, 600 watts of solar, 20 gallons of fresh water. It's got a queen size sleeper sofa in it that I built. And I can haul a motorcycle or a mountain bike inside with me, and it fits in any parking spot.
Yeah,
So
that'll do any weekend, anytime,
yeah,
easily.
yeah.
You could almost stretch it to a week with one person, one or two
I'm
people.
if it was one person, you could absolutely live in it for a week or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
You
Uh,
could push the limits of your boondocking rates
yeah, yeah.
for
Now
sure.
with two people, you're like, all right, someone's got to step outside.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little crowded.
So
That's
someone's got to leave. But when the hotspot's firing and the internet's working and you're parked in the woods
Oh yeah.
or next to a stream, it's so phenomenal. But
It's yeah.
so there we go, right? That's an extension of that outlet for stress or anxiety or however
Yeah.
you phrase things. I think of stress as being something that's applied externally, and anxiety is something I apply to myself internally,
Internally, for sure.
right? And
Yep.
so talk to me a little bit about what it's like to come out with product and know that you're going to stay in the house and not move back in the van.
Yeah. So I the last 4 years prior to this, I traveled in the camper, right? Full time all over the country and all that stuff. And I've been referring to it in hindsight as an accidental sabbatical. So basically I'm thinking of it like I um I took it easy for 4 years. I all my energy and all my focus was on travel, and all my extra energy that I had, right, went into the travel for most of the year. There was a couple months at the end of the year every year that I would pick up what I call a snack, would just be a single project that I would just work on. And snack is an apt description because it was fun, it was delicious, I got to work on it, I enjoyed it, but if I had too much of it, I'd get sick, right? So
Yeah.
it's a perfect metaphor for it. So um but I decided that I'm building this product right as we were coming out of this travel, and I built the product and I did the things. And it has been crazy how just overwhelmingly busy I am all the time in ways that I can't even like describe. Um, I am more stressed and more overworked right now than I've been in several years. I am burning out of both ends, and it is definitely not something that is sustainable. Uh, but I know that, and I recognize that the only way out is through. That is kind of a part of starting.
Yeah.
Oftentimes is you just have to. If you don't, if you're bootstrapping, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be hard. You just have to make sure that you are working yourself to get through it, and you have a plan to get through it, not to just get on, as you said, the hamster wheel and be on it. Because that's what I did at Design Frame, my agency that I ran prior to. I did that for 9 years of spinning, running on this hamster wheel, constantly looking for clients, constantly looking for more work. And there's just this heightened sense of stress that just comes from existing in that space. At least for me, I think there are people out there who can do it really well.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not that person who can do that like consistently and do it really well indefinitely. I can do it for a while, like, I mean, a year or two, right? At that in that way. But I knew when I came into this one that I needed help and I can't do this alone. So I'm not doing it alone. So I'm getting a lot of help. I've got several developers who I've hired who are working with me at part-time to try to figure out who's the right person to work with. I've got a person who's helping me develop my sales pipeline. I have two people who are helping me develop content, from editing videos to writing content and things like that. And I'm paying all of that out of pocket right now. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
so like it's still stressful in a different way because I still have to make sure I'm bringing in enough money in the short term to fund all of that, right? So it's like this investment that I'm putting into all this stuff. So I'm kind of right now, a lot of my stress and a lot of my things is like the short term um is I'm I need client work. I need those big injections of cash from somebody who needs me to solve a problem that I am uniquely equipped to solve. That's where my personal brand comes in, alexstandiford.com, right? Where I'm talking about WordPress development, custom coding, really good programming practices, code audits for existing plugins, WordPress customizations and all kinds of stuff like that. Like that's my current phase is like I'm getting clients from that. And then I'm working on transit, but I'm working very actively. My goal is by the end of the year is to start this transition. I want to start transitioning to doing client work um, on the Siren side. So sirenaffiliates.com having educational resources and things that are paid resources for people to be able to take on, be it, um, one-on-ones where I'm doing accelerator programs with people, or I'm doing uh webinars, like a paid webinar where people come in and I tailor it to them and stuff like that. To actually just doing custom development for Siren for my customers. But there's a bit of an education problem around Siren at the moment because it is so powerful, and it is kind of there's a lot of new terminology, there's a lot of new concepts. I'm taking something that exists in bigger businesses that bigger businesses have had access to for decades, and I'm making it accessible to somebody who is just starting their own business, right? Prior to Siren's Lifter LMS integration, the only way you would be able to create a multi-course creator platform like Udemy or something like that at that level was to build it custom and invest tens of thousands of dollars in doing that, right? And then the maintenance of that code on top of it. Well, now that Siren's here and it exists, all of a sudden that's possible for a lot less money. So like it's not even that I'm competing with other people. It's I'm competing with other plugins while simultaneously also defining this whole market that I know exists and helping people understand what it is. I have an education problem. So I
Yeah.
have to figure out how to educate these people on those things. So I'm doing a lot of podcasting. I'm doing my own podcast, my own blog content. I'm talking about doing these webinars that are paid. I'm talking about doing, those all these other things to help people get caught up, to help people start thinking about their business in terms of um of incentive programs and how those can be used to help them multiply their own efforts without necessarily paying somebody hourly or paying somebody on a salary or in addition to or something like that. So my hope is that I can transition myself from being alexstandiford.com services to alexstandiford.com plus Siren affiliates services plus the product. And then as the product continues to grow and develop and I get more people who are using it on a recurring basis, I can start to rely on the service side of this business less and less. But I am probably years away from that.
Yeah, it's again, your answer is deep and it has so many different angles in it. When when I think about the agency side of life and customer work and stuff like that, I've come to learn, I'm going to say recently, I'm going to beat myself up recently that, delegating is so valuable, having that team, someone that you can, and then focus
Yeah.
on. So I need to focus on what generates revenue, which I've
Hmm.
learned over time is not manning the keyboard. It's not.
Yep. It's not.
As efficient as I might be at slamming a Lifter LMS site together, just because I can do it super quick
Yep.
doesn't mean that's the way I should be spending my time. My
Yep.
time should be on the pipeline and getting more people into the front of that pipeline. And then
100%.
when I talk to you, especially about the Siren kind of, change of mindset, right? What if you could turn just half of your customers into salespeople?
Yeah.
Right. And then that's a whole different thought, right? Because then you go,
Hmm.
well, wait a minute, because I'm working my fanny off on, paid ads and webinars, and you mentioned some things, right? But then what if you turned your existing customers into salespeople? And it's not like an official salesperson. You're not having sales meetings on Monday morning and yelling at people. You're just
Hmm.
saying, hey, if you really like our services, if you really like our product, it'd be awesome if you referred it. And you know what? There's an incentive to do so.
Yep.
Um, Here you go.
Yep.
Right. So that to me makes a ton of sense. The other thing that you said um, is a battle that I've fought, and I'm still fighting it. Actually, I have a training product. It's one of the things I started when I first got into Lifter LMS. I still have the Thinking Project, right? Um, and I built it. I think it's one of the best in its industry. It is an excellent training program. We put it together with live coaching, and I launched it, and no one signed up. And then
Mm.
I changed the copy, and no one signed up. And then I
Yep.
changed the price, and I got a few clients. Oddly enough, I had to 10x the price. I was way underpriced.
Yep.
And so people that have listened to the show before have heard this story about kind of my experience with trying to get this. And what I kind of determined 2.5, almost 3 years in was, holy crap, I solved a problem that customers didn't know was a problem yet. Or they
Yes.
or they knew it was a problem, but it wasn't high enough on the priority rungs to get any attention, or
Hmm.
worse, never get an investment.
Yep.
Right. And so I help motorcycle dealerships increase their parts and labor sales through, communication and leadership training. Motorcycle dealerships don't care about that. They care about
Hmm.
selling the next Hayabusa or selling the next Ducati Panigale. They're
Yep.
they're really sales focused. And so here I am in the background saying, I can help your store make an extra $600,000 this year on parts and labor. And they're literally looking at me and going, our service department's already too busy.
Yep.
We don't have time to do it. So we got to sell more bikes to make more money. And the economy is not going that direction. The economy is going the exact opposite direction with motorcycles and RVs and mountain bikes. And so to me, the opportunities in service, and to the dealers, they haven't made that recognition yet. Well, now this year, they finally started to come around. And now we've got a list of 60 dealers that wants to take training.
Hmm. Good
Alex, it
stuff.
took 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I tell this story for people that are listening or people that are watching. I want to inspire people. Like sometimes you need to give up. Sometimes you need to push the magic button and walk away.
Yep.
Other times you have to extend yourself a little grace and
Yeah.
go, you're too far invested. You've put too much in. You can't just give up, because I almost turned the website off in August. I almost just imploded it. Like, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. And
Yeah.
then literally a month later, it's a six-figure project, but you don't know what you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you can't force it.
Right.
So I started working on what you said, educating, right? So, but the education side was hard too.
Yeah.
So and I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes. If I'm Alex Standiford, there's no R there. If I'm Alex, how do I look at my product and think, what does someone 6 months from now that never heard of me, how do I let them know that this is a pain point they can solve?
Yep. Totally.
That's hard.
Yeah, it is. And the for me, a lot of my hope is revolved around the simple fact that in my case, Siren is very powerful and it has many use cases. And as a result, it has many different um markets, right? There's
Yeah.
many different angles I can take with this. So a lot of it for me is doing integration partnerships and then like what I did with Lifter, where I create an integration, I do a cross promotion with that company, right? To get a feel for how interested that audience is in the solution, right? I'm trying to figure out what audience just kind of gets it, right? What audience is understanding what I'm talking about. Because to your point, like with your motorcycle example, it's very specific to a very specific, right? And we're told to zoom in and get specific.
Yeah.
But I
Riches are
think
in the
that
niches, and then you find out it's a
right,
lie.
right. The riches are in the niches. No, it should be the riches are in certain niches, right? So it's kind of to me, it's more about like at this phase for me, it's more about figuring out which niche is worth going for, right? So I'm creating this ecosystem that allows me to have multiple avenues, multiple options. There's different markets. I can go after course creators creating Udemy clones. I can go after, the traditional affiliate program solution alternative to competing products. I can go after sites that are running multiple vendors like Etsy or something like that. There's all these different there's these different terms, there's these different approaches that I can go after. So a lot of my focus right now is just kind of on figuring out who's the most responsive to what this is offering and who does it kind of click with. So, and then going from there and kind of running with that. Um, and then trying to replicate that, right? So trying to find as many of those as I can that are really, really relevant. Um, it makes me think about there's a plugin in WordPress space. There's a solution called the events calendar.
Mhm.
And it's basically an event solution. Well, that company originally was called Modern Tribe, and they had two halves of their business. They had an agency side and they had a software side. The company has since been sold to a business that owns both of those now, but um, they ran this software, these solutions, and through that software, they filled their agency pipeline, right? So if you look at their agency, you'll find they happen to have a lot of colleges because a lot of colleges needed a calendar of events on their website. So you get, I don't
Yeah.
have any insider information. I'm just from looking at their site closely and paying attention. You can see very clearly, oh, I get it. They had people who were using their software and a lot of them happened to be colleges, and the colleges were the niche, not the only niche, right? There are plenty of other people that need calendars, but that was the niche that had the money.
Yeah.
That's the niche that had the riches. So their agency went after those people, right? Went after that because they knew they've already got established relationships with these people who are using this software. They have a deeper understanding on this, and they focused on their site build and their development around that stuff, around the fact that they have that expertise that is unique to their business, right? So I'm trying to replicate a lot of that energy in Siren, right? So I'm looking for companies that want to use incentive programs, whether that's an affiliate program, a vendor payout program,
Yeah.
or like any kind of incentive program. And I'm trying to find which one of those markets contains a niche of people that also don't want to do it themselves, right? They have this problem and they want a website and they want to do it in this specific thing. They want to have all these things, but they also aren't bootstrapped businesses doing it themselves.
Yeah.
And if I can find that market, I think I'm going to be able to bridge the gap between alexstandiford.com being me going out on Twitter saying, "Hey, I need work. Does anybody have anything?" every 3 months, to Siren Affiliates has a full pipeline of people that are coming in, bursting with leads all the time because we have proven effective methods, and it has nothing to do with my personal brand at all.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's what I want to get to. Eventually, I would love to get to a point to where the product is able to fund itself and is bringing in enough money, and that maybe eventually I am able to let go of the service side or consider have that as an option. I don't even know if I'd want to, but I want to know that it's an option, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of the for me, that's like where I'm going. Phase one, Alex Standiford. Phase two, Siren Services. Phase three, Siren Product. Siren Product obviously exists now, but it's going to take a while for that to really get moving enough for it to be able to really
Yeah, sustainable.
fund sustain itself. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm going to tell you, I really have enjoyed our chat, but I want to make sure that we redirect people to something more informative.
Yeah.
Um, I saw you do that talk with Chris Badgett, webinar talk, whatever you want to phrase that as, going through the
Yeah.
details, ins and outs, and setting up that integration. So I'll refer people to the link in the show notes.
Hmm.
But if you are in the e-learning space and you follow Lifter LMS at all, Alex did a really good show on LMS Cast with Chris,
Mm.
and it was really insightful. And I'm just going to be super transparent. Everyone thinks I'm some WordPress genius because I'm on WP Tonic and Lifter LMS. I'm not a developer. I tell people all the time, I'm an implementer. I like to solve problems for business, and I got this crazy marketing brain, and so I'm always loving to talk to people and network with people and solve problems. But a lot of stuff Alex talked about in that show went right over my head. So give yourself some grace and some patience. Maybe you have to watch it twice and slow it down a hair, take some notes. But the other side of the coin is you just get in touch with Alex.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
um, what's the best way to reach you, Alex?
Oh, geez. So the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is I'm on X and I'm on Mastodon. Um, if you can find me at Alex Standiford in both of those cases, if you just search for me, you'll find me there. My personal site, you can add a comment on anything on there as well. I post everything through my personal site first, including social posts. So, if you don't use X or you don't or whatever, you can sign up via RSS for my blog. I write fairly often. You can also find me at sirenaffiliates.com. I talk a lot on there. I have blog content that goes out all the time. I also have a getting started guide for people who are looking to build their first affiliate program. So if the idea of creating an affiliate program, that's like kind of usually the first incentive program people go with, because it's
Yeah.
like usually if you're just getting started in your own business, the one of the first big problems you need to solve is sales, that you can't like afford to just have somebody else do. So I have a really detailed email guide that sends several emails that just goes through how to build your first affiliate program, how to find your first 10 affiliates, how to get that stuff moving. I would highly recommend checking that out. And then the other thing is, of course, I have a podcast myself called Partnership, where I talk about a lot of the stuff that I talked about in this episode in more detail. I have interviews with people like Chris, like you just mentioned, another person named Melissa. David Hernandez comes to mind. He's an affiliate manager, gave me tons of great advice. There's so much really good, really, really good practical advice if you're looking to explore the idea of partnership marketing and multiplying your efforts through partnerships and affiliate programs and any kind of incentive program. Definitely check out that podcast because I'm really bringing home the bacon. Lots of good content there.
That is perfect. Folks, this has been Alex Standiford. I encourage you to check him out, start floating, hit some of the links, and any comments that you would have, share them with the show, share the show with your friends, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.